Minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising today in strong support of H.R. 757, this North Korea Sanctions Enforcement Act, which I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of. North Korea continues to pose a serious and dangerous threat to my constituents in Hawaii, the Pacific, and the West Coast of the United States. There are some necessary steps that the United States must take to deal with this threat. We need to increase the strength and capabilities of our Pacific Fleet and forces. We need to stop the downward trend in investment of ballistic missile defense development and capabilities and strengthen our ballistic missile defense capabilities, specifically in Hawaii and the Pacific, to counter this threat.
On the 19th of February, the Libertarian Party and the People's Party are sponsoring an event in Washington, D.C. called Rage Against the War Machine. And while there has already been a fair amount of infighting and controversy surrounding some of the speakers, not enough has been said about one in particular and why they are in attendance at what is supposed to be an anti-war rally. In this video, I'd like to propose one simple question. What the is Tulsi Gabbard doing as a speaker at an anti-war rally?
In Congress now for over the last 6 years, I've served on the Foreign Affairs Committee as well as the Armed Services Committee, and I have seen how self-serving, powerful politicians from both parties have continued this foreign policy regime change war view where they think that we, the United States, should be acting as the policemen of the world.
First, let me preface by saying yes, I know that Tulsi Gabbard has spoken out about what she calls regime change wars. However, the problem is that being against regime change wars doesn't mean you're anti-war, it just means you're against regime change wars. But is Tulsi even anti-regime change war? In 2015, she voted to appropriate $600 million to the Syria Train and Equip Fund and $715 million to the Iraq Train and Equip Fund to provide training, equipment, and support for Syria and Iraq under the justification of countering ISIS. That same year, she continued to push the narrative that Iran is building nuclear weapons, directly in the face of evidence to the contrary. In a statement, Gabbard said that the objective must remain at the forefront. We must work together to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran. She also criticized President Obama at the time for not being aggressive enough in Syria, tweeting, "Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11 and must be defeated. Obama won't bomb them in Syria. Putin did. Hashtag never forget 9/11. Gabbard supported the 2016 National Defense Authorization Act, which called for $300 million to the Secretary of Defense to provide the military and other security forces of the government of Ukraine with security assistance and intelligence support. In 2017, she voted yes on a bill to provide counter-aggression measures against Iran, Russia, and North Korea. She also spoke out in favor of economic sanctions against North Korea, which have a historic precedent as a prelude to a hot war. If Tulsi is against regime change wars, why has she supported U.S. regime change efforts against Iran, North Korea, Ukraine, and Syria? Even beyond her support for toppling governments, Tulsi has taken on other pro-war positions over the years. She is for limited use of drone strikes and once said she thinks it's important to look at how the use of drones in certain scenarios have saved lives and how, when strategically placed and properly used, drones are an asset to national security. And more recently in 2021, she reiterated these views.
So as long as these Islamist jihadists are waging war against us, we have to work to defeat them militarily and ideologically. And militarily, we have two choices in how we do that. Number one, we can continue to invade and occupy and nation-building countries around the world, just as we did in Afghanistan, at great cost. Number two, we can take a targeted approach using airstrikes, using our special forces to go in and go after these terrorist cells.
It is no secret that the United States used torture in the years following 9/11. But today, the world learned exactly how often it used it and just how brutal it was. A Senate report details how it was so disturbing that some CIA officers tried to stop it, how the spy agency lied about what it was doing, and how, in the end, the torture produced nothing that helped disrupt terror plots or capture their leaders.
In 2014, she appeared on NDTV and was asked whether she shared the view that the CIA torture report is a blot on American values. Gabbard replied,
Very bluntly, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted on this report. There are, I think the jury is still out on the report itself. There have been comments that there are things missing or it was incomplete, and there are differing opinions on the report itself.
Her top campaign contributors on OpenSecrets.org include U.S. defense companies such as Lockheed Martin and Boeing. And in 2017, Tulsi attended an American Enterprise Institute closed-door event where she shared a space with the likes of neocons such as Bill Kristol, Dick Cheney, Mike Pence, and Rupert Murdoch. Unlike other candidates who are honest and open about being soulless warmongers, Tulsi gives anti-war lip service and attends anti-war events. And yet, she can't escape her pro-war history, which ultimately begs the original question: what the is Tulsi Gabbard doing as a speaker at an anti-war rally?